We got 25 minutes. We got to go. Hey, what is going on, everybody? Happy February. Janelle, when you get a chance, unmute.
Hey!
All that energy. All the engine.
Happy Wednesday, everyone.
Welcome in to Say That, you guys. Happy hump day.
Super excited to have you all with us. Today is February 1st. It's the first of the month. Everybody get up. And that means since it's February, it's also Black History Month. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff going on right now. It's a Wednesday. It's the first of the month. We are officially into Black History Month. There's just a lot of stuff going on. We're really excited for today. If this is your first time joining us, we just want to say welcome. And if you're wondering like what we're all about, we are all about talking about the ugly come up of entrepreneurship. So we all know how like people, you hear these stories, right, of people having nothing and then having massive success. But what happens in the middle? What happens during that ugly come up? Well, that's what we're here for. We're all about that. And so we have a topic of the week, and we have 25 minutes to answer the topic of the day of the week. And when it's just me and Winston, we will go in, and it's a lot of fun. And we oftentimes have guests, and we get guests to come in. These are fellow entrepreneurs who are out there. They're in the trenches, in the ugly come up, getting it done. They've got lots of wisdom to share. And when we run out of time with them, it's like, oh no, but the conversation was so good. Well, we go into overtime with our guests. And if you want to follow the conversation, we have some really great conversations. I mean, you think what happens on YouTube is good. Wait until you see what happens for overtime. But overtime is available to our Patreon community members. To become a Patreon member, it's down below in the description. Go ahead and join that. You can watch all the recordings from all of our other guests for their overtime segments. A lot of great information for entrepreneurs. So we would love to have you as part of our community there.
Absolutely. And guys, if this, like Janelle said, is your first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy the conversation today, make sure you hit that like button. And like she also mentioned, guys, share this content with other people. It definitely helps us a lot to grow the community, to grow our reach in what we're doing. And one of the cool things about today is not only is we're gonna get into some great conversations with our guests. Today, guys, is the last episode of our season. So the end of season 5. It has been an absolute blast this season. All of our guests, thank you to everybody that was able to make time to have a conversation with us. Thank you to everybody that watched live, anybody who watched on the replays. We absolutely appreciate every single one of you guys. And if you remember, we are currently in a series that we have dubbed Where Are They Now? And we are, where we go, boom. Where are you now? Where are you now? For everyone who is a Say That faithful, you guys know that every Black Friday or every Black History Month, we have our Ultra Black series.
Stack bones and take my money, go and spend it where it's black owned. Black owned business, black owned shops, black owned grocery, black owned lots, black owned houses, black owned streets, black owned everything everybody eats.
Woo. All right, so
let's go.
With all of that energy, where are they now with Black entrepreneur at the forefront? We want to get into today's question and then bring on our amazing guest who's going to help Janelle and I discuss that topic. So drum roll, please. Today's question, guys, is:
do I have to buy black? I don't know. Do you have to?
Let us get into it. So, guys, it is our absolute pleasure to welcome back to the virtual stage a brother from another. Actually, this guy, Janelle and myself, have had the absolute pleasure of actually working and doing a business and building an organization with this gentleman. He is an entrepreneur, the CEO of Dylan's Power Washing, food savant. One of the things I love about Keith is his passion, his love for life. The fact that I think he's a natural teacher, somebody who loves to just share his wisdom. Father, I mean, I can go on and on. Husband, just an absolutely cool brother. So, guys, help me welcome to the stage our brother from another, Keith Gross. Our next guest.
Hey.
Oh, the country
Welcome
music
back,
gave it
Keith.
away. You know, he's country, y'all.
Okay. I love it.
Welcome back.
Thanks
Welcome
for having me.
back. No, absolutely, guys. So if you guys didn't get a chance to see the last time, or actually one of the many times Keith has actually been on the show, we just want to share with you guys just a little snippet of the last time we had the blessing to talk to this gentleman.
Let's work. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, can you first just tell us a little bit about yourself? Obviously, we know that you are the CEO of Dylan's Power Washing, but tell us a little bit about your journey into entrepreneurship, your time in network marketing until where you are now with your current business.
Sure. So I'm going to take you back like 20 years, 20 plus years. So I started out at 19 years old, my first network marketing venture. Then came back decades later. And of course, many things have changed. Started networking probably over the past decade, doing different things. But the main thing is it kind of prepared me for what I'm currently doing now. And honestly, definitely the personal growth and development I've gotten. I'm formerly a chef by trade. You know, I've managed retail such as Whole Foods Market. Most of you guys know Whole Foods Market. I've worked for them for over a decade, managing stores. Started from the bottom, worked my way up. I've been a professional boxer in my life, barber, anything to try to figure out what's going to break for me. And finally found that one thing. And now, you know, my wife and myself, my wife's name is Kathleen. We own Dylan's Power Washing. It's family-owned business. Her brother started the business back in 2000, taught me the business. And then, you know, life changed for him. And then we took over the business and just rebranded things and been running ever since. And right to date, man, we're doing it big here in Calvert County. Yes, doing it big.
So how are things in Calvert County?
Yeah, let's start.
Hey, man, things are great in Mayberry. So, you know, right now, you know, we just, you know, keeping it moving wintertime. So things are a little bit slower than it is during our peak season, but we're gearing up for a very successful 2023 season. Just kind of being mindful of the current status of the economic structure of America. So we shrinking some things so that we don't get in over our head, but still trying to grow the business, but being smart with our investments.
Nice.
That's
So
super cool.
Yeah. Have you guys had any or brought on any new investments or add additions to the business? I know you talked to me about some stuff you guys were working on.
Yes. So early last year, so about April last year, we got into seal coating. As you see, our brand changed from just Dylan's Power Washing. It's now Dylan's Power Washing and seal coating. So we do asphalt restoration and then line marking, such as like commercial driveways and things of that nature. We bought a nice big rig and a few other trucks and bought a team, man, and we had a really great year doing it. It definitely added another sale to our top line. We expanded our painting business to not only just doing exterior painting, but to doing interior painting, expanded on our window cleaning business as well. So overall, everything is running the way we want it to run right now. And I'm really happy and excited to get into March as the weather starts getting a little bit warmer and kick off this spring cleaning season.
Yes.
What does that look like for the company?
So can you elaborate on the question you're asking? I'm sorry.
No. Like? Just in terms of numbers now, because if you guys have added on an additional segment to what you guys do, are you, or just this year going to be the first year that you're going through this season and doing the seal coating?
No, this will be it'll be our second season. So seal coating is seasonal. So for example, you may get 7-8 months out of the year. This will be our first full year into that. And I'm pretty excited. It's going to take us about 3 to 5 years to really to be a competitor in that industry. But we was able to definitely pull in a lot more sales because we already have customers that have the need. So we advertise directly to those customers. Right now, they just got to amp up the marketing a little more so that people know we do it, because my name is Dillon's in power washing. And I think just adding the seal coating, sometimes they miss it because the power washing overshadows everything right now. So we've been talking about, not really rebranding, but thinking about creating another structure so it can kind of stand alone and do its own thing, because I feel like some of our services are competing with each other because they're main services.
So that's like looking something like Dylan seal coating, just something that stands on its own.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Something like that. But our main focus this year is really on the commercial side of things. I think we can create a whole nother audience by working with general contractors and focusing on the bigger commercial projects. Right now, we're working with quite a few big companies. We're doing, high rises and things of that nature, contracting guys to scale off of buildings and things like that. So pretty excited to kind of see how that's going to go, because it brings a total different dollar and allows our business to grow in a whole nother area.
All right, exciting. All right,
that's really exciting.
Let's
I
get
do have
learning
the food world coming. I don't want to launch it to anyone yet until it really does what it needs to, but I do have something that I'm working on with a partner on the food side of things. Someone bought something to me and it makes sense. Something that I worked on back in 2012.
Nice.
And I got an opportunity to be another part of this venture. So yeah, you're going to hear about that probably in the next 6 months or so.
Cool.
What's going on there? Another investment for Dillon's.
Season 6. Keith's gonna win. We're gonna have an award for guest who's been on the most with something different, and Keith's gonna win. Keith's going for that award.
I'm family, like brother from another mother, so I'm that go-to guy, right?
Most co-hosted episodes, everything. Keith's gonna take it all.
Oh, it's awesome.
All right, so let's get into the question then.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
Let's go.
So, there a lot of times during February, there's a
spotlight.
I guess there's encouragement for people to buy Black, right? Which for those of you who don't know, that means patronizing a Black-owned business. So it could be a Black-owned business that's like in services, similar to what you just heard Keith describe that his company does, or it could be they make products, right? So whatever it is, but it's just Black-owned. And so we wanted to talk about whether that's something that you have to do. So what are your thoughts immediately, Keith, as you think about that question?
Do we have enough time for this conversation first?
That's where overtime. That's where overtime.
I gotta set up in my chair now because this is a hot topic. My personal opinion is, yes, we support, because twofold. Yes, we want to support because we're not really represented in a way. In my opinion, we need to be in our communities. Okay. There are communities that are predominantly that look like you and I, that have that. But what's happening right now, I noticed that we can't go everywhere and set up the same businesses that other folks have the opportunity to, for many reasons. So yes, I do feel compelled at times to support businesses that are owned by minorities, like myself, and frequent them. But the main thing is, if the service has to be there. They got to be making it happen. I don't want to just say, okay, because you have a business and we look alike, that I'm supposed to support you. But, I like to give an opportunity. One of the things that I do locally, I do actively support our local Chamber of Commerce. I held 2 years a seat as a director of the Chamber. And what we do is we bring in local businesses. And one of the things I've done is work closely with a lot of minority businesses and offering that example for them to come in and just kind of be groomed, and kind of see it from a different scope. So I think, you just got to be able to be reputable and take care of your business to get, my personal support. If that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, no, it definitely does for me.
So it's interesting. So Winston and I were talking about this a couple of days ago, or maybe even yesterday, but thank you for bringing up the point that in general, right? Like if you were to just look at the numbers, Black-owned businesses just don't get patronized the way that like a white business would, right? And so it's just bringing consciousness. It's making people aware of, that's like a thing. Let's try and like actively do something to try and change that, right? So, and to your point, put money in the community, because I think the statistics show that money within the Black community stays within the Black community for all of like 16 seconds. I don't even think it's like a minute. But it'll stay in like the Asian community for like days, the Jewish community for days, right? Like all of those different things. So if we are now aware, the idea is that we can change, you know, that phenomenon. We can do something to change that. But it's interesting also that you said for you are aware and you are making conscious decisions, but you also have a standard that you are looking to have those services or products, right, delivered to you.
Yes.
How do you personally, this is like your own personal thing, how do you figure out what a good standard is, or like who would be a reputable person to go to?
Great question. So for me, it's case by case. You know, it could be I like something about you, and I'm gonna give you a shot. We had a conversation, and because every business, depending on where you start, doesn't have all the stuff to be considered reputable, like websites and things. All you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do. So it's many times where I'm gonna spend some money and just see where it goes. I mean, I've had great luck where okay, I give this guy a shot. They do what they need to do. And then what I try to do is, again, help them be better at what they do. I mean, I'm constantly meeting new business owners all the time, even in my industry. You know, I frequent a place where you buy supplies from. And, you know, I spend a lot of money with the folks there. So they's like, you know, you need to talk to Keith about this, and this. He's got the good business. So guys all the time are talking to myself about how to move and how to maneuver. And one thing I tell them, credibility as a business. So do you have a website? Do you have a phone number? You know, if you got a brand, show that brand. That way, it's when people look for that service, certain things make you credible. And I think in Dillon's, what we try to do is just make our image look bigger than we really were at the time, just so that people will see us as credible. So certain things I'm going to look for off the top. And if you don't have it, it's not an end all be all, but I'm going to coach you to say, hey, this is what I think you should do. It doesn't cost much money to add it to your business, because I want you to get all that money. I mean, money is only one color. Okay. Let's just get it. It's green. Mm-hmm. So let's just get it. It doesn't really matter. So that's kind of my thing about it all, but just making sure that the guys and gals that are in business, they can show up.
Okay, good. I was. Well, I'm taking what both of you guys said, and initially when the question, you know, do I have to buy black, and we have had, I mean, this is a conversation that I feel like we've had multiple times before, in some way or shape or form. And the thing that came to mind for me, however, was similar to Keith. It's like, I feel like, I don't know if it's like, I don't feel like it's a higher standard that I hold a black business to. I think comparable, but then I also realized that, and Janelle said, the number of businesses that are owned by is the majority by white.
Yeah,
by whites. Okay, cool, right? Yeah. So there's a standard, if I've patronized a business similar to this before, that I'm automatically going for, and I don't know if you guys are similar. It's like I'll give a business but so many times to have poor service, to Keith's points, before I'll go, well, they just opened. Oh, they may not have been doing this as long. All these different reasons. But I think we're very conscious. If we're spending our money, there's a certain level of expectation we have towards a business. Maybe as a black business, you may go, I'm expecting more of these people because we happen to be similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. Go ahead, Janelle.
No, you go, and then I'm sure I'll have a response.
It's funny because that there opens up a whole lot of different thoughts when it comes to being harder. Personally, I don't feel like I'm not harder on our businesses because I don't feel like we have the shot. It's like we don't get the fair shot. And our industries are so limited when it comes to black-owned businesses. You know, normally most of our businesses are owned in the cosmetology industry in most cities. You know, hair salons and barbershops. You see those everywhere. We don't see a lot of storefronts liquor stores, 7-Elevens. I mean, we're very limited. And so to support most of our businesses are ground up businesses where we got to learn how to do it all or bringing a skill set to it.
That's
Can I say, so the thing that gets me and you guys, there's like a level of education that I think you kind of have to bring with the whole buy black movement that I personally don't think is there, because even as I listen and talk to you guys, you share information with me about the challenges that it takes for black entrepreneurs to start these businesses that I'm unaware of. I assume when I don't see black businesses that black people don't want to start these businesses.
Oh, wow.
I don't think of it in a way of as challenges for them to get into these businesses. I personally just assume they just don't want to do that. I'll give you an example. I'll go into a nail salon now, and they happen to be, and I'm going to say Asian. I don't know the exact culture, but whatever. They're Asian, multiple. And I think to myself, is this business a hard model to duplicate or, you know what I mean, replicate? Because I don't see black owned nail salons in black neighborhoods. And I always wonder, is it the rent, the owner of the building? Like, because I understand real estate. And in my mind, it's like, why is this not a business black people? Because the people I see I've never seen an Asian patron of an Asian nail salon. These are black people getting their nails done by Asian people. So
in our communities,
they don't want these businesses.
We want to own these businesses. Go ahead, Janelle. I'm sorry.
I agree with Keith. I would say, yes, there are people out there who want to own those businesses, but a lot of times when those Asian owned nail salons, if we're going to use that as the example, a lot of times they're going in it with a team of people, whether it's family or friends, or it's not like just one person's like, yeah, I'm gonna. That's
what I'm saying. But that model can't be the model that people use to start businesses. Is the thing that I'm saying that's what's not being taught within our culture.
Yeah.
You do it on your group of people.
Do it by yourself.
Exactly.
You got to do it on
your own. A group of people coming together to run a. I remember being, and I'm going to use Asians again. I'm in a Chinese restaurant, and again, I'm in a neighborhood where the menu is exactly the same as the one 10 blocks away. And I literally remember being in one and be like, yo, do you know the people who own the one up this place?
Absolutely.
Because they have the same menu and it's a different LLC. And she was like, oh, yeah, no, I know them. And I'm like, do you know the one that's 4 blocks this way? Yeah, I know them too.
It's funny because, not to change the topic, but I was having a conversation earlier in a barbershop, about, the challenges, of being African-American in America. And even this topic here, do I have to buy black? It's really tough because the opportunities are not consistent across the board. And so, for example, Dylan's, I don't put my last name is not Dylan. Okay, that's my wife's maiden name. She happened to be a Caucasian American. Personally, I don't feel like I had the same shape if I put my name on that business. Because of how people related. The reason people call me because of what we look like. We look like all the other businesses. I could go into our community, in a black community, and they won't support me the same way if they know who's behind it, even though I got credibility. And that's this design. We don't like ourselves, one, in some ways. Secondly, the opportunity. So we look at the liquor stores, who they're owned by, the hair salons, and all these things. These folks come here and they are giving money, to open up these businesses. In a lot of cases, their access to money is much more easier than the people like you and I that's here. We got to jump through a lot of hoops, and a lot of it because of lack of the education and knowledge to find out what the grants are and get these things done. But we don't have.
But to your point, and then if you know about them, you're still less likely to get them because systematically, it's within the system. The system is built that way to keep you in line. There's an order, there's a pecking order, and they do that intentionally to divide us all, so that way the white man essentially can have and maintain power. That's how the system is built. So what you just pointed out, I think, is huge, right? Because like, to Winston's point, I don't know how many people understand that and know that, but that there's like a systematic thing that's happening. But then there's another thing. So then there's also just like the bias that comes with racism, right? That includes like making Black people biased against other Black people. Like that's a real thing, right? And so you find that as well. Like some Black people are like, I actually know some Black people who are like, no, I would never do business with like a Black owned business because it's never as good. They don't
see that's the see that general is it. Well, a couple things. So that generalization clearly makes no sense because it's not all businesses aren't equal, right? In that sense. But what's interesting to me that you guys have both touched on is I hear you, what you guys are saying, and I still feel like the lack of, because I don't see white people owning the businesses I'm talking about. I don't see them owning the liquor store. That's not who I see owning I'm talking about businesses I see in Black communities.
But these are minority figures, just like us, that most of which were not born on this soil, came here and had an opportunity. And if you go down, for example, try to open a liquor store in your community, you will get, by the time you try to even get that license, it's gonna cost so much. It's gonna put you out of the way right away.
Please understand that this is intentional, though. Like, no, but that's what I'm saying. Historically speaking, they have I mean, like the Chinese Americans, like the Chinese came and they allowed them specifically. They were like, you can own a shop, but the only place that you can own this shop, liquor store, convenience store, whatever, is in a Black neighborhood. I want to make that clear. Like that's how intentional it is. They didn't just say you can own a store anywhere. You can own a store in the Black neighborhood. By the way, which we made the Black neighborhood because we red zoned it so they can't live anywhere else. Right? Like this is intentional. For everyone else who's out there and wondering like, why is this? This is intentional.
And sadly, this is a great conversation, and to have these kind of conversations and be honest and clear, a lot of folks don't hear this information, but the ones that hear it and don't want to understand where we're coming from, we're going to be labeled. We will be labeled. Yes, I'm going to go out here and work. No one's going to stop me from doing anything. I'm going to grind, but we do know there's a ceiling for many of us. Others have a sky, but many of us have a ceiling. Okay, and ceilings can be brought on by self, and ceilings can be brought on by others. It's not all predicated by self. And in a lot of cases, I'm not facing that right now. Okay, Billings is not facing any ceiling right now, but we do know at different levels of growth, there are different challenges and different things. My community, I live in a very healthy community. My community is thriving. It's a thriving community, but there's other communities by design that's not thriving, and they don't have those opportunities. People don't grow up and say, I want to do that, because they don't see other people, one, like them doing it, or the opportunities are so far and few between, they don't feel encouraged to do so. And so, I was talking to someone today about like the Million Man March. I wish, we had these conversations, and in my own ignorance, I don't know what came out of it. I knew when it happened. I was not there. They did a second one, kind of. But I would love to find out, after those conversations, you got that many men together, everyone put in a dollar, we can create one business or multiple small businesses. We could keep duplicating that process every year and create multiple streams of income in communities. That's how I look at it. If we work together, we don't need to use banks. We can use our own money, because so much of our money are going to other places. I'm talking starting with $1. We can create our own. The problem, we won't ever get there, because we can't get like-minded folks together, because of the natural born hate and division that's been put in our community from outside sources has made us hate ourselves through the brainwashing and the education and things of that nature has basically taken away love for oneself.
And there definitely is a lot of, even within, I would say, the culture, what you're told you could be in terms of successful. It's not, and I mean, personally, and again, this is, I don't feel like I'm being told I could be a successful businessman as a Black man. Like, I don't think that's what's being marketed to me. And I'm definitely a little, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm in the generation where basketball player athlete, just based on age, is the aspiration that I have. but I'm not being marketed other things that I could still be at, let's say 40 or in my late 30s. What could I now go out and be if, you know, the thing I went to school for isn't an option or not a desire, right? What is it that I can be told that I can be? And that's where I feel like the lack of education in this, it's like even the statistic about how long money stays in our cultural ecosystem is huge. Because other people don't realize that what that's saying is I take my money and I'm going to go buy something. The business I'm about to patronize isn't someone that person is going to then use that money and patronize another business in a community that supports the one I'm in. It means I'm going to buy something and that person is going somewhere else that has nothing to do with where I live, which builds up that overall infrastructure.
Yes.
And even
how many
something like
people
that.
actually think about that though? Even there's so many people don't even have a consciousness
of what they're doing. So I mean, to me, that's what I mean by I look at, and I'll use the Jewish neighborhood as where I'm looking at their business, that business, that business, that business, that business. It's all owned by somebody that what happens to them is going to affect another family that lives within that same community. Oh man, this is so good.
I'm good.
And I wanted to get into the other side. So in overtime, I wanted to talk about like, how do you find right now that you're conscious of this and you're like, oh man, I could really use an estate lawyer, right? Like I really need an estate lawyer. And then you're thinking like, where would I find a Black estate lawyer? Because like in my network of people, I just don't know any. There must be some that exist, but where would I find them? And we had this really cute...
yeah. Can I say this? I say this? All right. So to that part, so in overtime, guys, if you're already not somebody who's subscribed, you can click that in the description below. But the conversation we're about to have in overtime is this. So I'm thinking we've had, and again, shout outs to every person in any season that's ever been a guest on this show. We are just honestly so true. I mean, 5 seasons, we did not think we would still be doing this. So thank you to every single one of you guys. Keith, thank you to you, bro. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, if I wanted an estate lawyer, and we've actually happened to have the honor to have interviewed an estate lawyer.
Shout out to Lily and Control.
Lily, yeah, who's been on the show. And I said to Janelle, what's funny is I thought, oh, I need an estate lawyer. She came to mind. And then as the instruction I was given, it was, oh, but you should vet this person and obviously shop around to see what the price, things like. And I thought to myself, oh, wow, I didn't necessarily think to do that. But am I choosing her because she happens to be an African-American woman? Or how do I know what the good qualifications of somebody in an industry that I have never, like, how do I know how to, if I go to Dylan's, Keith and his team are reputable people that I should be patronizing? And then Janelle and I had an amazing conversation. So we're about to take this into overtime with Keith and hear his side on that. But again, guys, thank you guys for everything that you guys, every week that you guys show up. We absolutely appreciate you guys. And as always, remember you deserve the good life. We'll see you guys in overtime. And we'll see you guys next season.